everybody, Remrov here again. I'm a classic autist who makes these videos to educate about autism and to build a bridge in between the autistic and neurotypical world. And I hope to be a voice for non-verbal people with autism as well. Pilaf is with us again. Also, he's trying to get into my neck and to take a nap probably. In this video I would like to share more about our senses, which can be quite an issue for people with autism. As I told you in my previous videos, people without autism, they have a filter and they can filter out details of information which are not important to them. But people with autism don't have this filter. So all the details of information from outside, they all come in just as loud and they all compete for first place. They're all equal important, and we don't see the global picture. We often just don't know which details of information are important or which are not important to us. For example, in school the teacher used to ask us very often to write a summary about a chapter in a book, for example, and that was very, very difficult for me. I would often write down the whole chapter, or I would write down nothing, because every word in that chapter was just equal important to me, and I didn't see the global story of that chapter. Besides that, in school it was very difficult to filter out the teacher's voice, because there were so many other voices around, like from kids talking and noise from outside, like cars and bicycles, and so I just I couldn't filter out the teacher's voice, and I practically missed everything the teacher said, with as a result a lot of bad marks. And another example is when I took the bus or public transportation to school or to work. It's extremely chaotic because there's so many noises around, and for example, from the engine of the bus already, I already hear like 20 different sounds, like very high frequency sounds and very low frequency sounds. Besides that, a lot of other noises, like people talking in the bus, or walking around, or other cars on the road, the wind against the bus, the sound of the wheels on the road. And that was so extremely exhausting for me, all those sounds, that I often already arrived at school in the morning completely exhausted, or at work, wherever I was going. A lot of sounds are also extremely painful for my ears, like a smoke alarm, for example, or ambulance or fire truck. When I hear sounds like that, I just have to cover my ears with my hands because they're just too painful, too loud. It also turned out that I have a very high developed hearing. I can hear sounds or frequencies that other people can't hear. When I was little, my mom thought I was deaf because often I didn't respond when she called my name. And then we had a hearing test done. It turned out that my hearing was actually really good. And the reason why I didn't respond to her, I didn't do that on purpose, but because there are so many other sounds around that I couldn't register her voice. And often when people were talking to me, I didn't even notice that they were talking to me, because all the sounds around me, they come in, but nothing really registers because it's just too much information. So then I often don't respond. when I go to parties, well, actually I never really go to parties, or hardly ever, but when I do, it's extremely chaotic too. Especially when it's a really big party, they have music going on, and if there are a lot of different groups and they all have their own conversation going, then and I'm standing in a group too, then for me it's impossible to follow the conversation of my group, because I hear and the music on and all the other conversations of all the other groups as well. So, well, I often don't let that anybody knows that. I just nod and say and when everybody else laughing, I just laugh too. But I don't understand anything. I don't follow anything. Once every year here in Montreal we have the jazz festival, and I would really love to go because I love jazz music, but when I do go, I can't go very long at all, because there's so much going on, all those people, those crowds and noises and loud music, and a lot of different bands, and all their music are just as loud. And no, it's important for me to stay very long. I get exhausted and drained in sensory overload quite fast, like half an hour, 45 minutes, hour tops, and then I just have to go home again, unfortunately. When it's raining outside, I find rain always quite a huge issue, because when it rains, all the sounds become even louder. Besides that, you have a lot of extra sounds, like the rain falling on the ground, the rain against the windows, the winds against the windows, the rain on the cars, and the cars driving through puddles, and the splashes of the rain. And it's all extra sounds on top of a world that is already chaotic. So that was a lot about sounds, but we have other senses also, like our skin. My skin is extremely sensitive. I'm extremely sensitive for touch. When somebody touches me suddenly, it can really startle me, and it can even hurt me. What people also like to do is like certain jokes. Like when it's cold outside and they come inside and they have cold hands, they like to put them in your face or in your neck, which is they think it's fun, but I don't think so, because I'm so sensitive for that. It can really make me quite upset. I used to do volunteer work for a company, and there was a lady who she really had the habit of pinching me here in my side, and the feeling, it was really hurting me, and it was so annoying. I often told her just in a friendly way, can you please not do that, because I'm really too sensitive for that. But she kept on doing it until one day I got like really angry with her, and I started to shout at her, and she should stop doing that. The skin on my head is also extremely sensitive. For example, when I get a haircut and the hairdresser combs my hair backwards against the direction in which my hair is growing, it can really feel like pins and needles. I can't say that it's really hurting, but it doesn't feel nice either. It's really, very annoying. Clothes on my skin. Buying new clothes is, I often prefer to do that alone, because, it takes me quite a lot of time. I find it really difficult to buy new clothes. I'm very sensitive to fabrics, and very sensitive if something is a bit too tight. like a pants that's too tight around my waist. That can really be extremely annoying and even painful. And it's not like, oh, 10 minutes and then I get used to it. No, I will keep on feeling it the whole day. Socks with seams in them. I prefer to wear socks without seams because the seams can really hurt my toes and my feet. Underwear. Also, yeah, I'm quite picky with underwear. What underwear to buy. I find it really difficult because I just need underwear that I don't feel at all. I don't want to feel a seam around my leg or around my waist, or definitely not a seam that moves around when you move your leg. In the movie Rain Man, I bring up the movie Rain Man because actually I recognize a lot in Rain Man. In the movie there's this scene where Charlie Babbitt, he's quite angry at and pissed off at Rain Man, because of underwear, and he's screaming and he says, "What does it matter where you buy underwear? Underwear is underwear." But it's just not like that. It's really not like that. Underwear is not underwear. It's quite, yeah, it matters a lot. It's yeah, there's a lot of underwear that I just can't wear because it's just so extremely annoying. When my skin is wet, it becomes worse. I'm even more sensitive to touch and everything. After a shower or after swimming, I have to make sure that I dry myself off really good, and even drying off can be yeah, painful. Because when I put on my socks or my pants or a shirt when my body is still a bit damp, it can really hurt. It can be really quite painful even. Besides like this, like just hearing, like just sounds or only touch, you also have a combination, of course. When you walk outside, it's not like, oh, I only hear things. No, you also see a lot of things and you feel things also, like wind touching your skin, for example. And then those combinations make everything even more chaotic. And there's even combinations that I personally can't tolerate at all. For example, when I'm eating, I can't be touched. I'm already from the food. There's already so much input, so much information, details of information to process, that I'm too sensitive to be touched. So if I'm eating, that nobody's allowed to just rub my back or so, for example. That's just intolerable. I'm not. That's too sensitive. Eating while having a conversation, I also find that extremely difficult because you get so much information from your food already. Then on top of that, you have to process words. Well, it's for me, or I won't. If I try to follow the conversation, I won't be able to taste my food, or vice versa. When I focus on my food, I won't be able to concentrate on the conversation. Then you have like sight and having a conversation at the same time, and there's one particular topic which is eye contact. There's a lot of people who find, well, almost everybody who finds eye contact, it seems to be extremely important in our society, and teachers and parents, many of them, they want to encourage eye contact with people with autism, but personally, I say no to that. There's a reason why I and many other people with autism look away. When I'm having a conversation and I make eye contact at the same time, I won't be able to hear a word you're saying. I will miss everything you're saying. From a face and from eyes, there's so much information which is so complex and so confusing that the input of the words you're saying is just too much to process. For people with autism, facial expressions are extremely difficult to understand. already, so making eye contact is so extremely confusing. And then by itself, and then on top of the words, processing words is a no-no. People, when I look away, people think I'm rude or they think I'm not interested, but it's actually the exact opposite. I am interested. I want to be able what you're saying. So in order to concentrate on your story, I have to look away. I often look at a mouth, people's lips, people's hair, forehead, but not, I avoid eyes during a conversation. I often maybe look at eyebrows so people have the feeling that I'm making eye contact, so they don't get like irritated and so with me. But I avoid eyes. Well, after all that I said, I do have some advice also. Of course, when I give advice, I look at what I would feel myself and the things that would help with me. And I do know that it will help with a lot of other people and kids with autism too. But it's not 100% guarantee. It's something you can try and it's something you can take into consideration. Sensory issues being sensory overload, it can cause meltdowns. It's just so huge, it can cause meltdowns and tantrums. And a good thing to do is when your child or a family member or a student has a meltdown, it's just always good to just get him into a quiet place where there's not much stimulation. Just to start with that. And it doesn't really help to solve a meltdown or a tantrum in a really crowded and noisy place. So first into a quieter space and talk to that person with a quiet voice, soft voice, and try to calm him or her down in that way. And another tip what I can give is, I think a lot of people already know about that, of course. It's earplugs in crowded spaces, like with public transportation, wear earplugs or MP3 player with earbuds. So I always do that, and I only hear my music instead of all the other noises. But on the other hand, it can also be a bit dangerous because you also, especially in a bigger city, you want to be aware of your surroundings for traffic, but also other people. Not everybody is nice, for example. So you want to be, when you're shut off from the outside world, you can also be quite vulnerable. So it's also a good thing to think about, hey, when I'm going to wear my earplugs, is it safe enough for me to wear my earplugs or to only be hearing music at this moment? Well, when my mom, when I was little, and I often didn't respond to what she was saying, and I think that also happens to more people with autism. So when you want to talk to somebody who has autism and the person is not responding, then just turn down the radio or TV, things like that. That's if you really need to talk to somebody with autism, just make sure that it's quiet and that that your voice can be registered. Call somebody's name first, so that the person knows really, like, oh, that person is trying to talk to me. When you need to talk to a student and it's really crowded in the classroom or so, to just take a person apart. If you need to talk to him or her, it's also a good thing to do. Besides that, another piece of advice is just be careful with jokes. The people without autism might think it's funny to have suddenly really cold hands in their neck, but many people with autism, that's just too that's really horrible. It feels really horrible. It can even hurt. It's just, be careful with that around people with autism. Jokes like that, or suddenly touching them and suddenly like grabbing them in their neck like this, or suddenly or in the side, you pinch them in the side. Suddenly, these are things you can better not do around with a person with autism, or suddenly screaming in their ear is also something you should definitely not do. Just meet each other halfway a little bit. It's yeah, I think that's quite important. So I hope you all found everything I said useful, and you enjoyed the video a bit. Think about making another part about senses. I made this drawing, a cartoon drawing about how it feels inside my own head. So think about making a video about explaining that drawing also. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below this video. I will try to incorporate all your questions in my next videos. And yeah, well, that was it. Pilaf and I wish you a very nice day, and we hope to see you again with our next videos. Bye!